We can just stick it in here and it shoots microwaves through you. And oh, that's just a cell phone. Oh, this guy's got a gun. By the way, we just microwaved your testicles. Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from Climate Viewer News at climateviewer.com. Today we're going to talk about modern day Minority Report pre-crime and all of the surveillance technologies being used against you. I have a question for you. Do you think that it's okay to give up temporary safety for your essential liberty? So let me know in the comments below if you're not watching this live. But after this video, I think that you might agree that some of these technologies are far too invasive, are collecting too much data on us, and that everything that, was talked about in George Orwell's 1984 is coming to a screen near you, let alone webcam or microwave. So we're going to go through a couple different technologies. Some you may have heard of. I seriously doubt you have. Back in 2013, I had this article up on climateviewer.com called 14 Incredibly Creepy Surveillance Technologies That Big Brother Will Be Using to Spy on You. So I'm going to quickly go through these just so we can have a refresher. And this was written in 2012. Pre-crime surveillance cameras. Now, this is what we're talking about with, trapwire. It's going to be the first topic that I get into. We're going to go into that in detail. Capturing fingerprints from 20 feet away. Of course, video has been removed. Typical, of this kind of information, but it's still there. It's called iDare, and it can scan your fingerprints from 20 feet away. Mobile backscatter vans, or the FBI's X-ray vans, which can look through your house. They can look through the walls of vehicles, all of that sort of thing. Of course, they say that the X-rays are only as dangerous as being in a plane for an hour, but I wouldn't want to be in that beam anytime soon. Also known as the porno scanner for obvious reasons. Hijacking your mind with DARPA, a lot of information on that. Unmanned aerial drones in U.S. Air Force airspace. I have great information on that. All of the drones are actively mapped out on climateviewer.org. So if you want to see those, come over to Climate Viewer, go to Pollution and Privacy, go to Government and Surveillance, scroll down past the Big Brother section, and you will see drones over America. Right here, UAV drones over the USA, and you can see the reports from Freedom of Information Act requests on all the different drones. Let me get my face out of the way, and who's operating them and all that sort of thing. So I mean, this one's U.S. Air Force. Some of these are police stations. You can go through the entire list. It's pretty scary stuff. But know your drones right here. This one shows all of the different drones. I'll blow that up for you so you can see all the different types of drones. But this is a great map that shows you that. And I also have drone no-fly zones, which also lets you know all of the secret locations across America that obviously they don't want drones flying. And you can see there are quite a few of those. Most of these are military bases. But you're not allowed to fly drones in these locations, but of course the military and police are. So check those out. Moving along, law enforcement using your cell phone to spy on you. This is actual video of a guy showing that Android is actually taking every single thing you type into it and recording it. Moving along, biometric databases, RFID microchips, automated license plate readers, face reading software. That's going to be in the trapwire section coming up in just a second. Data mining. The list goes on. So if you want to get an overview of street lights spying on you, video deleted. Automated ISP monitoring you, also known as the CALEA Act, CALEA, Communications Assistance for Law Enforcement Act, where it's required by law that your internet service provider keeps like a 90-day record of everything that you've been doing. So keep that. Spying on you through our appliances, number 14. You remember that video screen in 1984? Well, now your TVs are spying on you. Don't believe me? Next article up. Congressional act requiring on-screen notification. We are watching you when you're being recorded. So these new smart TVs, a lot of them have built-in cameras. And, you know, it was first brought to light with the LG TV. IT consultant Jason Hundley uncovered evidence that LG flat screen television, which had been sitting in his living room since the summer, was secretly invading his family's privacy. And we go on to talk about other technologies, you know, that do this. You know, they basically are watching you, watching them. And it was called House Rule 2356, We Are Watching You Act of 2013, which would require exactly what I did in the little infographic at the top. And you go on down here and you also find out that things like the Xbox One's Connect also spying on you. My children have an Xbox. I make sure that it's turned backwards or unplugged, not connected to the internet, that sort of thing. Pretty scary stuff. And Microsoft actually has a patent for legal intercept, which you can read, that, you know, basically says, you know, hey, you know, we record everything that comes through Skype, through the Xbox, all of that stuff. Everything you're doing that is on a Microsoft product is recorded and mirrored to a server, which of course the NSA has access to. So that brings us to our next topic. You know, I went on the Skype patent forums back in 2013 about this patent and was raising hell. And of course, the mods were like, "Shut up," and kept deleting my posts. But George Orwell said it best here.
You once claimed that you have an ability to face unpleasant facts. Is that what you've demonstrated in 1984 by drawing an accurate portrait of the future?
I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
And that was George Orwell right before his death, and I think that he pretty much nailed it. That's where we are, you know, in a divided society where everybody is, you know, partied up, you know, Democrat versus Republican, gay versus straight. Everybody's really jaded and tribal. And that's great for the puppet masters that are surveilling us on a daily basis and making sure that everything's controlled through fake news and propaganda, which is something I cover on climateviewer.com/propaganda. If you want something that's really going to change your life, read The Anatomy of Slave Speak. It changed mine. This is very important stuff. So now we're going to get to the details of how they surveil us in this modern day pre-crime. So here we go. Up next, maybe you guys have never heard of lulsec, but I had a lot of fun with this back in the day. And lulsec was part of the anti-sec or anti-security anonymous wing. But basically, lulsec, was basically hacking everything on the planet, whether it be government or private, and they called it "Fuck FBI Friday," among other things. And you can look through the FBI launches $1 billion facial recognition project, 2012. If you go through this stuff, it's going to really blow your mind. But I was a participant, at least on the sidelines, to a lot of this stuff. And what happened? The members of lulsec, at the top end, there were two guys, Sabu and Commander X. And in the end, both were arrested. The difference is Sabu, when he was arrested by the FBI, he became an informant. And even though he was an informant and ratting out all the other members of lulsec, Jeremy Hammond, aka Sabu, said, "The FBI could have stopped me," he told the Daily Dot last month, in a federal correction institution in Manchester. "They could have, they knew about it, they could have stopped dozens of sites I was breaking into, but he broke into Strategic Forecasting Inc., Stratfor, and released those emails. Those emails were then leaked to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks exposes Trapwire as spy network. Federal government was preparing to monitor the public using privately owned surveillance cameras, according to documents leaked by WikiLeaks." So what is Trapwire? Trapwire is pre-crime. Trapwire, it's not the surveillance, it's the sleaze. Wired, 2012. The idea behind Trapwire is this. Trapwire is not even hiding it anymore since they've been outed. They actually have a website now. It's at trapwire.com. And I'll explain to you basically how this works. So, Spray Can Ann in chat, when she gets up in the morning, she typically goes to 7-Eleven, gets a coffee, then she heads to work, takes a lunch break. She usually eats at these places, and then she goes home at around this time, and she's home for the night. And they know this because they watch street cams, private, webcams from like banks and, all kind of security cams. They tap into them. They do facial recognition software on everybody passing by these cameras so that they can track individuals and know where they are, what their daily routines are, and all of that sort of thing. Now, if you're talking a lot about chemtrails and suddenly your face is recognized on a webcam that is near a, let's say, secure area at an airport, you will be flagged by Trapwire as a terrorist in a pre-crime scenario. That is the idea behind Trapwire. It is facial recognition software tracking where you are in real time and then saying that you're about to commit a crime because you are out of your normal daily routine zone and in a high security area, like a port of entry, one of the shipping ports, things like that. So that's why Trapwire is so damn creepy. It is modern day pre-crime. Alright, so, and most people to this day have still never heard about Trapwire. But anyway, there's a Wikipedia page on it as well for those who want, half the story. But it kind of goes through the history and incidents, about the Stratfor hack and all of that. It's just a general overview, but regardless, it's a real thing. So how does one defeat Trapwire? Got a great little video from my homies at Anonymous, and I think you'll enjoy this one.
Have heard the recent stories about tracked wire. Constant video surveillance is an issue we presently face. However, there are a number of ways that you can combat this surveillance. Using a similar method, you can distort your face through elaborate makeup. This method also takes advantage of software limits, as the computer will not be able to detect a face. But these are tiresome ways that tend to draw attention to yourself. Surely there are better solutions to avoid being added to a database. Did you know that a laser pointer can disable surveillance cameras? A tripod and a scope will help ensure it remains pointed at the camera. But we do have one last way to combat this surveillance. This method requires a little bit of work though. With new things,
This is brilliant.
some infrared LEDs, some wiring, and a 9-volt battery, you can create a device to render yourself invisible. It guarantees complete anonymity to cameras while appearing perfectly normal to the rest of the world. While the government may be hell-bent on watching us at every moment of every day, we are not helpless. There are always ways of fighting back. Let's remind them that 1984 was not an instruction manual.
To sum it up, at the end there, they were talking about using infrared LEDs. So they're invisible to the naked eye, but almost all webcams have an infrared sensor on them, especially for night vision. So that's a great way to defeat facial recognition software, because it's going to blind the camera, but nobody can see it as you're walking around. Just throwing that one out there, you know, for those who want a pragmatic solution to facial recognition software. It's great. So what's up next? Let's go back over here. All right, so the next one up is, and this is very recent, May 30th. Police to use TSA-style scanners to spy on people in public places. This is called HexWave. TSA-style body scanners are coming to public spaces and should be scare the hell out of everyone. If you thought the NYPD Z backscatter vans, that's the X-ray porno scanner van I was telling you about earlier, and the police's mini Zs were intrusive, you haven't seen anything yet. Soon, nowhere will be safe from Big Brother's prying eyes as police prepare to use HexWave to spy on people in public spaces. Last week, Salt Lake Tribune revealed that the Utah Attorney General and law enforcement are partnering with Liberty Defense, a 3D image scanning company that makes money from scanning in public in real time. 3D means capturing rich information, size, shape, and depth about the detection space. It can detect any material in physical form. Let's start with their name. Calling yourself Liberty Defense is an affront to liberty-minded Americans who do not want to be secretly spied on by Big Brother. Their tagline, protecting communities and preserving peace of mind, is exact opposite of what this device does. Any device that is used to spy on the public is just that, a surveillance device. It's not defense of our liberty. As Fox Now 13 reported, police will use Liberty Defense's HexWave to spy on people at mass gatherings like concerts, malls, and stadiums. This is in the state of Utah. HexWave could be deployed at mass gatherings like concerts, malls, stadiums, public transit stops, and government buildings, said Bill Riker, Liberty Defense's CEO. So basically the idea is they're going to put these microwaves up all over the place. Their challenge, efficiently securing high traffic areas with multiple entry points such as hotels, schools, airports, public transit systems, entertainment venues, and outdoor pedestrian locations in a secure, non-intrusive manner. However, it's very intrusive because it's no different than what the body scanners at the TSA are using. It's a freaking microwave. Okay, so what does it look like? Well, let's go see it from their own little video. So, threat detected. Inside a wall, hidden from view, and able to basically record everything going on. You don't even know it's there. Oh, it can see this bomb on you. Now, all this sounds great in theory. everybody wants to be safe from terrorists. But at the same time, there are no legal requirements such as the TSA has. The TSA has to have a second individual watching the cameras with you, and they are not allowed to store any of the biometric or video data on their scanners. So when they can see your naked body, they're not allowed to record it to a hard drive, keep it on file. But there's nothing protecting these types of microwave technologies that can scan right through your clothes, protecting us from these types of companies. We don't have the kind of data protection laws that they have over in the EU and elsewhere around the world. Liberty Defense's website has the HexWave page, where you can hear from their CEO describing this in detail. But it's incredibly creepy because, we don't know about the power levels and all of that sort of thing that are coming from these, and they're going to be everywhere. That's not the only kind. I mean, right here we have the NYPD street body scanners. Federal judge suit to stop NYPD street body scanners must wait, even though they file a lawsuit, still in use. And it's the same idea. It's basically the TSA's, pervert scanners, porno scanners, X-ray vans traveling around looking through your car. If you're wondering, most people are scared of 5G. Holy crap! Think about all of these guys that are, in the name of civil defense and preparedness against, terrorist threats, coming up with this stuff. TSA's transit police use full body scanners to search and watch list commuters. I mean, the list just goes on and on. So this is not just at airports. They're talking about at trains and everywhere. This one's called Through Vision. And what it does, unlike the other ones, it doesn't actually have a transmitter at all. What it does is it can use the signals coming from your own body, and it actively scans your body so that it can see weapons inside of you, hidden behind clothes and stuff. I mean, at least this one's not microwaving the hell out of you. But there are so many companies that are vying for these defense contractor, Department of Homeland Security contracts, that I could do hours on end talking about these types of technologies that are in use today. Trapwire being the creepiest of all, but these are these are in use everywhere now. And the more we find out about it, the more we realize nothing is private. I mean, right there he's showing a real-time scan that can see through his clothes and show the bomb vest. And it's using the electromagnetic radiation generated by our body, our own EMP. Your heart gives off an EMP. We have an electromagnetic signal. So it's actually doing passive scanning, is what it would be called. That's another technology, Through Vision. Going to be everywhere. I mean, so that's what he was talking about, George Orwell. Imagine just a boot heel on the head of everybody, and people partying up tribalism, and the Defense Department and the government getting more and more invasive. Speaking of invasive, cognitive microwave radar from Patriot 1 receives FCC and IC certification for commercialization. It's called PAT-SCAN CMR, cognitive microwave radar. And what makes this one so special? Well, it does the same thing as HexWave. And as you can see in their own little demo video here, what's so fancy about PAT-SCAN? Well, it can be hidden behind walls, and you can be in a hotel room and not even know you're being scanned, because it's a skinny radar, and we can just stick it in here and it shoots microwaves through you, and oh, that's just a cell phone. Oh, this guy's got a gun. By the way, we just microwaved your testicles. So if you're wondering why you're feeling funny and you're in a public place or in a hotel room or anything like that, these are the type of devices that PAT scans designed to recognize. These types of hidden radar devices that are scanning, they're not just at the airports. When you put your hands up in the air and you're having to take your shoes off and everything, it shows it in real time activity. This guy's cool. Now he's got a gun. He's going to go through the webcam, facial recognition scans him, and then it alerts class armed threat, 75% chance. Oh, now he's got a bomb, in a pressure cooker. These types of things are going on more and more more frequently with frequency. And just know that everywhere you go, this is the type of software that's being used to track you. So, protect your balls. Worry, what would be ideal is if you had some kind of RF detection system that you could carry on you so that you could know when you're being microwaved. Yeah, don't microwave me, bro. Because at the end of the day, between public surveillance with webcams, facial recognition software, and secret microwaves tucked away in trucks that are roaming the streets, inside of hotel walls, all of this stuff is constantly surveilling us everywhere we go. And companies like Microsoft, they just help out by recording everything you type, everything you speak. And FFS, everybody goes on CIA's on Facebook, and they willingly give away their location and all of that sort of thing. So it's no surprise to me that we're in the situation that we are. But there's some pretty creepy stuff going on, and if you don't know about stuff I wrote back in 2013, these 14 incredibly creepy surveillance technologies, you can only imagine what is available today. I only touched on 3 of them, or 4. And I could probably compile a list that could go on for 2 hours. But the point of this video was to just highlight the fact that, in the name of security, we're giving up essential liberty. We've been doing that since 9/11, 2001, and it's only gotten worse. And, the university industrial military complex has so many defense contractors vying for millions and billions of dollars worth of government handouts so that they can say that they're going to save us from these threats. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with that as long as there are protections for our civil liberties. And so far, I have seen none. So keep that in mind when you're out at your next concert. If you're feeling a little hot under the collar, you may be getting PET scanned or hex waved. You're definitely going to be on facial recognition software. There are ways to combat these types of surveillance technologies, but it's going to get harder and harder, and more often there is not going to be any place that you can go, especially in America, where you're not being recorded. And by the way, every single cell phone that's being carried around, those webcams can be activated at any time by 14-year-old kids. I could show you some of the programs right now. Literally, if I chose, I could go hack anybody's cell phone right now, turn on their webcam, and record everything. It's happened to multiple people, multiple times, even famous celebrities. So the best solution for you for that is to grab some electric tape and keep it over your webcam. This webcam that I use to broadcast on YouTube, it is constantly unplugged and only plugged in whenever I actually am recording and about to go live. But for that matter, let me do one. I was actually cited on export.gov by security analyst over this one. It's called an NSA Tempest attack. So let's just get me out of the way. Tempest attack can remotely view your computer and cell phone screen using radio waves. So basically your monitor gives off an electromagnetic frequency, and that frequency can be detected several hundred meters away in some cases. And this is actually from the Black Hat Convention. Some dude made a war driving is where you go and you scan for open Wi-Fi's and signals and all of that. Made a war driving UAV that could also do Tempest attack style scanning of screens. But it's called Van Eck phreaking in the olden days. And the idea is simple, that you use a microwave antenna like here, and you know that on one side you've got a screen, and over here with a directional antenna that you can pick up the radiation coming off of the monitor, and you can recreate it over here and remotely view somebody's screen. And that's called a Tempest attack. You can actually buy Tempest rated monitors that give off 0 radio frequency emissions. So keep that in mind. Even your monitor on your screen is microwaving your face and gives off an electromagnetic signal, which can be recorded from a distance. And there have even been cases where even when the webcam is unplugged, because it has a wire, if power is passed through that externally, they could activate an unplugged webcam just to freak you out even further. But this article that I published was cited by export.gov, and they actually go into details, you know, on how this works. And he shows, you know, this is an old video of how Van Eck phreaking works, and you know, how they can remotely view that over there. And I put it right here. Van Eck phreaking is the process of eavesdropping on the contents of a CRT or LCD display by detecting its electromagnetic emissions. And you know, by default, the military, you know, that another deleted video looks like, no, breaking secrecy of the ballot with radio scanner. This is people scanning your vote from afar. So you're going to talk about voter hacking. Here's a guy in a voting booth, literally, damn it, I hit the up button. Literally getting his vote spied upon from afar. And the NEDAP ES3B leaks a radio signal that can be received by a radio scanner. So here he is, listening Tempest scanner. And, you know, basically shows a vote is cast for the Christian Democrat Party. Blink! Right there on the screen. Picking it up. Showing in real time, you know, everything they're doing on their screen. This stuff is real, and it's pretty creepy. So that's what an actual Van Eck phreaking Tempest antenna, directional antenna looks like. And we can go even deeper. This is a really creepy one where they listen to the microphone on your computer and can tell what you're typing by how how the keys sound. So they can recreate what you're typing by listening to your microphone. But I think that I've fully covered this subject for today. Everything you're doing is being recorded. Everywhere you go, your face is being recorded. I believe there's a TV show called Person of Interest. I may be butchering that, but in between each scene, they show clips of people in cars and walking on the streets with little boxes around their head. That's what Trapwire is. It is using all of these street-facing cameras. They're tapped into by NSA computers, by defense contractors. They track everywhere you go. So that's the kind of creepiness that basically we're having to deal with today. And there are steps that you can take to minimize, you know, your being recorded. I went over a couple here, but increasingly they're going to find better and better ways to track everything we do. And that's why at climateviewer.com I not only cover geoengineering and pollution, but I cover privacy and propaganda. And the reason is simple. If you're going to talk about pollution, they're going to violate your privacy, and then they're going to make propaganda about you. At first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. So keep that in mind. Never doubt that a small group of individuals can change the planet. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. And my Climate Viewer family, you are that small group of individuals. Yeah, I'm deeply censored, have been for years. It's really been exponential since 2015 when I went to the EPA hearing in Washington, D.C. But, you know, through people like you sharing my message, sharing my videos, the word's getting out there. And I hope to continue to, you know, do what I do. I do this for free. Everything I create is for free, is remixable by yourself. You can download it, put it on your website. All I ask is that you link back to where you got it from, because this is about spreading the truth. And truth is power, and with information comes power, and power, great responsibility. So guys, please take the information that you've learned today about all of this security apparatus and remember to attack ideas, not people. When I say attack, I mean violence. Violently attack ideas, but never violently attack individuals. Do not hurt people. Do not physically attack people. Do not assault people. Call them dumb motherfucker, call them whatever you like, including the N-word, but understand that those are words and they are not violence, and they are not a justification for violence. If someone calls you the N-word and you are compelled to attack them, then you are mind controlled. And that is the anatomy of slave speak. Is language that maintains the master-slave relationship. And if you allow individuals to use words to create violence, or think that other people's words give you justification to commit violence against them, you are part of the problem. So, I'm going to repeat myself. Attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it, guys.
Everywhere.